Welcome back to another episode of the Cardinal Chronicles. Today we're going to be talking about the Virginia preview. Stanford has a big upcoming game on the road where they play at the Cavaliers in Charlottesville, Virginia. It'll be a huge one considering Stanford just got off of a massive win over Boston College. I'm here with my co-hosts Dylan and Alex. How are we doing today?
Doing fantastic. Another great week of football coming at you. Alex, I know you're excited. How are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling great. It's been a great week, and I cannot wait for week 4 of college football.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Stanford's coming off of a win that on my I might say so myself, none of us thought they were going to get. The media didn't think they were going to get. They went in as 13.5 point underdogs.
I
They
did.
pulled,
Sorry.
except for Alex, our one optimist on the show. For the first time, his delusional predictions actually came true. We need a round of applause for Alex real quick. But in all seriousness, though, Stanford got an upset win against Boston, a huge momentum boost, a game they were not supposed to win. Now they have to go back on the road and play a Virginia team that I'm going to be honest, I don't really know, this version of Virginia we don't know too much about. They're 2-1. They have wins over Coastal Carolina and William and Mary. Both schools are not Power 4 schools, and their only game against a Power 4 school thus far is a 35-31 road loss to NC State. They played NC State well, but they couldn't come away with the win. So Virginia, though, should be a tough game. But guys, what do we make of the Virginia Cavaliers, and what do we think? How do we think Stanford stacks up against them?
Yeah, just to kind of look at their schedule. I'll talk about the roster a little bit later, but from a schedule perspective, after week one which was their first game, they played Coastal Carolina. It like the score like jumped off the page. I was like, whoa, they should beat Coastal Carolina by 42 or whatever. And I was actually really impressed because I'm not super high on Virginia, but I've learned that Coastal Carolina is just bad, and it's not really Virginia that's good. Um, Other than that, I mean, beating William and Mary doesn't tell us anything. And then NC State, in my opinion, isn't a great ACC team. They lose to them on the road in a close one. So, I mean, I'm pretty unchanged on how I kind of felt preseason about Virginia. They have some guys. I mean, Chandler Morris. I'm a big Chandler Morris guy. He played in North Texas. He was pretty good. Um, Giving me Dylan Lonergan vibes from Boston College. This is a very, like, in my opinion, very similar team to Boston College. I wouldn't say their defensive identity is as similar, but I think offensively a ton. And so yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see. We'll talk about the roster a little bit later, but just from a schedule perspective, I think they've been all right. I think they could have had a better start. NC State isn't a great loss, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, real quick, I would say this, right? I think Virginia is a worse coach version than Boston College. I think Boston
Yeah.
College a better coach team. I think Boston College has more of a direction and more of an identity than Virginia does.
Mhm.
Because look, I think Chandler Morris is a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. His numbers
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
really jump off the page. He threw the ball 43 times against NC State for 257 yards, one touchdown and a pick. So he's good, but he's not gonna dazzle you with those numbers. So,
yeah.
they're a good team, but they're kind of I'd say poor man's version of Boston College, is if you look at it, not as well coached, not as much of a direction. So we'll see. But Alex, give me your thoughts on Virginia and kind of your early outlook for this game.
I'm way higher on NC State for the record than Luca is. I think that NC State is very very good. I think that but what the NC State game taught me is that Virginia does not win in the shootout,
Hmm.
and their defense is Swiss cheese.
And it's
Um,
gonna be a shootout this week, 100%.
I think it. Well, yeah, I'll get to that. I agree on principle. I think that Virginia is. I think Virginia. I agree with everything that has been said. I think Virginia is kind of on the same level as Boston College. I think that obviously two seemingly impressive wins against very very bad teams, and then one loss against a fairly, let's say, average or maybe slightly above average ACC team in NC State. I think that they are going to be better on defense than they have been in the first 3 games because Cam Robinson's coming back and Cam Robinson is an absolute dog. I think that the but I think that we are that O line is going to face some problems, and Chandler Morris is going to face some problems against their defense. Just going to be honest with you. But I will say, shout out Drake Metcalf, right guard for UVA, Stanford transfer.
Yeah, I mean, look, so based on I think of what we've seen defensively from Stanford, I think that the confidence that unit was able to gain from containing Lonergan and from containing Boston College, a team that had a hot start to the campaign, that's going to give them a lot of confidence. I don't think Stanford's really going to struggle against Virginia on defense when it comes to my concern is kind of like what we talked about in our Boston College episode. Be sure to check that one out as well. I don't know if the offense can string together a second performance where they can move the ball. And the reason why I say that is you're playing a Virginia team that you should theoretically be able to move the ball against pretty well. Yes, they're getting back Cam, but other than that, their defense isn't really dazzling. So can Stanford put together another performance where they're able to move the ball offensively? And if they can do that, I see a world where they can win this game and improve to 2-2. But if the key to the game is the offense, if the offense can't move the ball against this defense, it's going to be a problem.
I agree.
I
Um,
I I
yeah.
I would say on that front, I think that where Stanford matches up really really well yet again is the O line against this D line who has given up God knows how many points on, or God knows many yards on rushing. Hollywood Smothers, get it. I get it. Hollywood Smothers is very good, but Hollywood Smothers ran absolute circles around this D line, and that does not change with Cam Robinson there. I was watching the presser with Jay Green today, and Jay said something very interesting in terms of how they defend the run. They basically rotate their safety in as a third linebacker. What that indicates to me is that they are going to be undersized when defending the run, and no wonder they've gotten completely run over in all these games. So
Yeah, no, next thing I want to do real quick is I want to talk real quick about Virginia's raw. I want to talk about some players to watch on Virginia, some players to keep an eye out for, and then just some players, a couple players on Stanford who need to have a big game. So I'll start a couple guys. Micah Ford's a big one, like you said. They're undersized on defense. Can Micah have another good game and run all over these guys? That's going to be huge. If the running game's going, anytime we've noticed that the running game is going and Ben doesn't have to do as much, I mean, he's only had 3 games, 2 of them he kind of struggled. But as we've seen, the less that Ben has to do, the more success that Stanford tends to find, just because there's not as much on him. So can the running game be good? Offensive line, I'm gonna kind of put that in its own thing. But then number 3 is defense. Like I said, this could honestly, this has the makings to be a trap game, not because Virginia is not, they're a Power 4 school. This is a trap game because on paper, Virginia is not that great of a team. Stanford cannot go into this game thinking that they're going to have an easier win. Can Stanford's defense not fall for the trap game? That's important. That's really important. But, I think it's going to be very tough to go against Chandler, but I also think that offensively, their skill position wise, Jamari Taylor's a good back, right? He runs hard. He's averaging 6.5 per carry, which is really good. He's 5'9", 204, so he's a little guy, but he's also a little bulkier, so he's going to be hard to tackle. And then you look at defensively, you said Cam Johnson, but I'm also looking at their linebacker Landon Danley. He's a good dude. He's a dog. He flies around the field. Stanford's gonna have to find a way to combat that. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree with all of them, especially Mike Ford. I think that he's averaging 100 yards a game right now, which is pretty insane. He's on pace for 1,200 this year, which would be honestly like insane for Stanford, to be honest. And yeah, I mean he's been great. I think the key for Ford today is obviously he's been able to, get through kind of the middle of the line, but now like for Saturday's game, I think if he can bounce outside, I think that'll help a lot. Virginia's identity defensively is a lot in the middle. A lot of linebackers getting tackles, a lot of safeties getting tackles. But around the outside, there's not a lot of corners, and not a lot of playmakers kind of on the outside. So if Ford can kind of get to the outside, or even if it's not Ford, get Alta here sometime, get Cole Tab, get Irvin, right? Just get all these guys their reps. Yeah, I mean Gulbranson obviously is important. I mean he had a good game, but he wasn't like amazing. Still has work to do. I think frankly he's the biggest thing, and I think the Gulbranson Sam Roush connection is also one of the most important things. I mean Roush has been pretty off this year. He had a big play last weekend, so I see a world where he comes back. Obviously, he is one of our key offensive players, so if we can see Roush come back, I think that'll be huge. And then for Virginia, like I said, I mean, I'm a big Chandler Morris guy. I don't think he's had the best start to the year, but at North Texas he was great. And coming into Virginia, he hasn't been bad, frankly. So yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough to stop a guy like that, but I mean I see him a lot like Dylan Lonergan. Their running back, like you said, Jamari Taylor, he's pretty good. Yeah, I mean it'll be tough to stop, but the one thing I will say is I think when you have to play defense against Micah Ford and Cole Tab especially, who are kind of like the true power backs to Stanford. Like Stanford, frankly, has four power backs, and Virginia's guy is basically another power back. So they know how to play defense against this guy. And so, I mean, I think that'll be interesting. There's guys on both teams that are good. Just the question is who has the better overall depth and which guys kind of step up.
Three players for me on Stanford side. One is Ben Gulbranson. I think hands down. I think the running game really started to open up when Ben started slinging it, and so if Ben is able to sling it with the lack of pass rush from UVA, I think that's going to be so huge. I'd like to see a wide receiver two come um, out of the group of C.J. Williams, Caden High, John Anthony Hall if he's healthy, Miles Libman. I'd love to see a wide receiver two come out, take some of the stress off of Sam and pressure off of Sam and Bryce to kind of carry the team. That's number two. Number three, I'm looking at I know you guys said Micah Ford, but I'm really looking at the linebackers again. I'm looking at Stanford's linebacking crew again. Zach Johnson, Matt Rose are going to have to have another big game stopping this UVA run. On UVA side, obviously, I 100% agree with Chandler Morris. I think Chandler makes or breaks that team. He has shown flashes of really good football, and then he's had some one pretty terrible interception. So we'll see if Stanford secondary can clamp down to Virginia wide receivers and force turnovers. I think forcing turnovers are going to be really important again this game. Jamari Taylor is a dog. I'll just say this Virginia running back is very, very good. Jay Green alluded to this in his press conference. I think that this new challenge Stanford's facing is kind of a dual threat complementary style offense where Chandler is passing the ball and Chandler and Jamari are threats to run. And I think that again, that's why I'm staring at the linebackers to identify the play, spot the play, spy Chandler Morris, and stop the run. And then finally, I will say Cam Robinson on the Virginia side. Let's see how well he does on his first game back. He'll either be dropping into coverage, covering Sam, or he's going to be rushing the quarterback, or stopping the run. I think that Cam Robinson, if Cam Robinson does not have a big game, it's a long, long night for the Virginia defense. That's already pretty bad to begin with.
I agree. And now, before we end the show, then let's do score predictions real quick. Now, me and Luca have been the ones who've been predicting Stanford losses most of this season, and Alex has been predicting the wins. And usually we look at him all crazy, but this week he was the one guy who got the score kind of right. Not the actual, I don't think he got the score right, but he got the prediction right. Stanford won. I'm flipping the script this time. I'm actually predicting a Stanford win. For the first time all season long, I'm predicting Stanford.
Oh boy.
Stanford 27, Virginia 17. Look, Boston College, I think, is a better team than Virginia. Or I do. I do believe they're a better team than Virginia. Like I said earlier in the show, they're a better coach team, I believe, and they have a better quarterback situation. And Stanford upset them and only allowed 20 points in one quarter. I think Stanford's offense, I'm still not sold on the offense. I'm not sure how good the offense is going to do, especially because they're on the road. So I'm going to say 27. But Stanford's defense, that was a confidence boost for sure. And going into a game that is going to be tough, but I don't think it's as strong of a team. I think Stanford's defense is going to be hungry to prove that that they can play another good game. They're going to hold Virginia to under 20 points, 27-17. Stanford improves to 2-2 and comes home to play San Jose State looking to be 3-2, and hopefully match the win total they've had the last 4 seasons already by week 5.
Yeah, I love where your head's at. I have to go with Stanford here. I think it's gonna be a close one, to be honest. I'm pretty 50-50. I would go 21-20, but Stanford's offense hasn't proved to me that they can go a game only scoring touchdowns. So I think they're going to score some field goals as well. I'm going to go 23-20 to the Cardinal. Emmett Kenny hits a couple field goals. Gulbranson doesn't play amazing, but he has another decent game. I don't think Stanford does what they did against Boston College. If so, I'd probably pick them by a touchdown or even more. But I do think they're all right. They go on the road, they get a big win, and then they got a big game against San Jose State next week.
Yep. All right, Alex, let's see it. For the record, guys, before Alex predicts a score, he's going to predict the Stanford win, just so you guys know. So we're going to have 3 straight Stanford wins for the first time all season.
Yep.
And Dylan is damn right. I'm picking the Stanford Cardinal to win this game. I think that you know, Dylan got a score kind of very close to what I'm thinking. I'm thinking 27-14. And the reason why Stanford scores 27 points is I think we scored 20 points on offense with a nice little pick six in there
All
again.
right.
Oh, you're throwing a pick six. I'm not even thinking a pick six will happen, but there you go. That's a good one.
Or a fumble recovery touchdown. I think that this defense has proven over and over and over again that no matter who they're playing, they're creating turnovers. There's going to be a turnover that leads to a short field or turnover that leads to points again in this game. I with all due respect to UVA, I do not think that is an extraordinarily challenging place to play as a road team.
Yeah.
Because that stadium does not get nearly as loud as their counterparts in Virginia Tech, which ironically is worse. I'm saying, well, for all those reasons, 27. Give me Stanford 27-14. I think the 16.5 or 15.5 spread right now is in favor of UVA is absolutely 1 bajillion% fake.
All right.
I
Well,
agree.
hey guys, we will see what happens on Saturday. It's going to be a great game. Be sure to tune in. Kickoffs at 4:30. I believe the game will be on ACC Network and ESPN, so be sure to tune in to watch the Stanford Cardinal take on Virginia in a game where if they win, they will go back to 500 and they'll be right on track to having a successful rebuild in time for the 2026 season where more change will be coming. But in the meantime, enjoy the game on Saturday, guys. Thank you for watching our show. We will see you guys next time. Thank you guys again. Have a good one.
Go Card, baby.